Welcome back to another edition of the Season in Review series here on the College Football 360 YouTube channel. If you are new to this Season in Review series, let me explain it really quick for you guys. This will take approximately 30 seconds, so stick with me. In this series, I take one team per video and do a deep dive on how they did this past year. I grade out every player position, the coaches, present my highs and lows of the season, and I give my ideas on some improvements that need to be made for said team to improve next season. Now, with that being established, today's prime focus is going to be on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Their head coach is Brett Bielema. They had a fantastic season, won the Citrus Bowl, and we're going to take a look at everything and then some with the Fighting Illini. So, with that being said, let's dive right into the video. Okay, we'll start here with my overall thoughts from the season. This was an elite year from Brett Bielema and the Illini. I think they went 5-7 the previous year. They were around that 5-6 win range this in 2023, but in 2024 they took a huge step up. They got to double-digit wins. They beat a marquee SEC opponent in the Citrus Bowl, that being in South Carolina, and it was one of the best years in Illini football that I have seen. I mean, you go back to that 22 team, and then past that, there wasn't a whole lot more. So Bielema's done a great job with this program, and it was an elite year for the program. And this was one of the quietest 10-win seasons I think that's out there. No one talks about the Illini. I mean, Josh Pate doesn't even have them in his top 25 power ratings. I mean, he this is a very quiet 10-win season for the Illini. And in my opinion, the defense overperformed a little bit. I think going into the season, the talent it wasn't quite there. The defensive line was a bit weak, but they overperformed and they did great. And then Luke Altmaier played out of his mind for most of the season. In my opinion, last year he looked just lost at times. He ended up having over 2,700 yards. He had 22 touchdowns, lowered the interceptions to 6, and he was just really, really good. Passer rating of 144. It was just a great year from him, and the reason that they were able to win so many games was because Altmaier put them in the position to win. Okay, now we move on to my grades for positions. I include first offense, then we go to defense, then we go to overall. Coaching was a B on the offensive side. I thought it could have been a little better, but I think the offense played very well as a whole. The coaching was above average. That's what B is for me. B minus is about average. At quarterback, we have A here. I mean, I already talked about Luke Altmaier in a previous segment, so I don't have to rehash what I said. I think he played elite for what he's capable of doing. I think he maxed out his potential, and he just played really solid for the Illini all season. At running back, I have a B. Josh McCray and Aiden Lowry, excuse me, had a pretty good tandem. They tallied over 1,000 yards combined, but neither one of them really broke out that much. McCray led out of the two with 609 yards on the ground and 10 touchdowns. So, it was just about in the B range. At wide receiver, I have B plus. These wide receivers were really good, and it did help that they had Luke Altmaier as a quarterback. But players like Pat Bryant, Zachary Franklin were really, really good. This two-headed monster here. Pat Bryant fell 16 yards shy of 1,000. He had 984 for those who can't do math, and he had 10 touchdowns as well. He averaged 18 yards per reception. I mean, Pat Bryant was really good, and he'll be an NFL player. Zachary Franklin as well. He provided a spark when Pat Bryant was getting double covered and whatever, and he went for 652 yards and 4 touchdowns as well. You also throw in there Hank Beatty, who went for 290 yards and a touchdown as that wide receiver 3, and you sprinkle in Colin Dixon, who went for 264 yards as well. So this was a pretty darn good wide receiver core. It wasn't elite really. They never had a elite receiver, but they had a couple couple really good ones. At tight end, I have a C here. Their tight end Tanner Arkin was okay. I mean, he wasn't really a passing threat at all. He had 111 passing yards. He had 3 touchdowns. Receiving yards, excuse me. I said passing. My bad. He had 3 touchdowns to go along with that, on 16 receptions. So, really not a receiving threat at all, but he was very good blocking. So that keeps his grade from any lower. The offensive line was pretty average in my opinion, so I have it at a B plus. Sorry about that, B minus. Okay, now we move to the defensive side of the ball, where the defense, like I said, it overachieved in my opinion. The defensive line was weak in my opinion, just a little bit, compared to what their opponents had in the Big Ten. Um, I didn't think that they were all that great. Dennis Briggs was pretty good at defensive line at that defensive end position. He had 3.5 sacks, 40 total tackles. So I mean, he definitely provided at least a little bit of something there on the edge. Teray Edwards was good at nose tackle. Ezekiel Holmes at the other defensive end position. So I really didn't think that it was as good as it could have been, so I have it as a C. Plus, at linebacker, we had a couple good ones, so I gave it a B. Gabe Jace, I'm gonna butcher this name, but Gabe Jacobs had 8 sacks that led the team. At linebacker, he was really, really good. Had 74 total tackles, an absolute monster there at linebacker. And the other linebacker would be Dylan Rosiak. He had 60 tackles for a buck and a half sacks as well. So, these linebackers were real decent. Jacobs was definitely the best one there, having 8 sacks, being the left outside linebacker. And Ryan Mead, as well as the wide linebacker, was pretty good as well. And Seth Coleman was very good as well. So they had 4 linebackers. This is a 3-4 system, and overall they performed pretty darn. They performed pretty well. They weren't world beaters, but they performed pretty well. So I have it as a B. At corner, I have B minus here, so that's pretty average. They had, some pretty good players. Caleb Patterson was good. Xavier Scott was good. He led the team in interceptions with 4. Patterson did not have a interception, I don't think. But they were just kind of average. And then same with the safeties as well. Oh, I forgot before we move on to the safeties, forgot about Xavier Scott. He had a couple interceptions as well. So the safeties, we move on to them, pretty average as well. So I have them I have the grade as a B minus. Matthew Bailey, Miles Scott, they were pretty darn good. Scott had a couple interceptions. So I have both of these just about average. They didn't really impress me that much during the season, but they didn't do anything to mess up majorly. Obviously, there's going to be a couple instances here and there, but overall, it wasn't a huge issue, this secondary. But they didn't really make the plays that an elite secondary would. I think that's very fair to say. So I have overall the secondary as a B minus, and let's just move right on to overall grades. My overall coaching grade here, now we'll start with coaching, is an A minus. I thought that the offensive coaching brought it down a little bit, but the defensive coaching was fantastic. The special teams coaching was very good as well, and Brett Bielema himself was very good as a coach himself. The offense I gave a B plus, the defense a C plus, and the special teams a B. So this averages out to a team grade of a B, so above average team grade. Wasn't an elite team by any means necessary, but they did enough to obviously win double digit games. And let's move on to the next topic. Okay, so now we will talk about the highs of the season. I do this. It's the same format every single video so far. We've put out a bunch on the channel already. A bunch are still yet to come in this series, but the highs of the season here, double-digit win season. Already talked about it. This was an elite accomplishment for Bielema and Illinois to keep everyone invested in Illini football. And then they beat an extremely good South Carolina team in the Citrus Bowl. I was watching the game. It was very entertaining. Neither team had many opt-outs at all. I think even Illinois had a couple more opt-outs than South Carolina. South Carolina just had their running back opt-out, and uh, I think that it was very evenly matched. It shows where Illinois is for a team like South Carolina, where everyone was saying that they should go to the college football playoff, and you beat them, uh, basically their whole team except for that one running back. You just beat the whole team pretty much. So it's an elite accomplishment and shows where Illinois can go and will go. I think, in my opinion, I think they can continue to get better next season. And then it was a great season from Luke Altmaier. Obviously, we touched on that already on the channel. Really, throughout the not on the channel, on the video, really throughout the video, we were talking about it. So no need for further comment there. And then they beat the likes of at Nebraska. That was a huge win late in the season, in overtime. They beat University of Michigan. They beat Michigan and they won at Rutgers. So those are three wins that I thought were really good wins, and they were wins that I thought helped take them to that next level. The lows of the season, there really aren't that many. The only one, in my opinion, was losing that one possession game to Minnesota. I mean, that game was could have flip flopped either way. But if you do end up beating Minnesota, you're looking at the season even a little bit more differently, and probably getting a little bit more national coverage. Being an 11-win team, a 10-2 team. Uh, Again, it probably would have been the quietest 10-2, 11-2 team out there, but still. And you probably have a legitimate case for the college football playoff. Honestly, not that much else. There weren't that many lows of the season. The only one I think was Minnesota. Before we move into this final topic, I would like to ask you guys to subscribe to the channel if you have liked the video so far. If you have liked some of the content that I've done over on the channel before, what are you waiting for? Subscribe. It is the best and most efficient way to support the channel. I don't have ads. I don't have ads on YouTube. I don't read ads. I don't do anything like that. It's just pure college football talk on here. And I think that it would be great if you could join this thriving community of college football fans, and we're just trying to build on it. So if you could subscribe, that would be great for the channel. Also, comment your thoughts down below. That's where we have great discussions down there. I respond to every single reasonable comment. Obviously, some troll comments, I'll even respond to those too. But that's all I have on that front. Let's look at the improvements I'm looking for next season. Keep stacking these impressive seasons. You had one in 2022. You had one here in 2024. Just keep stacking the impressive seasons, and people will notice. High level recruits will notice. People will notice if you keep stacking these impressive seasons. If you go back and just do a 5-7 season next season, what did this season even mean? This season was a foundational season for impressive seasons to come, and I think that that really needs to be emphasized to keep stacking impressive seasons. You don't have to get to double-digit wins this upcoming year, but you got to get to 8 or 9, 10 or 11 would be great, but stack impressive seasons. And then keep the status quo at quarterback. You're losing a good one in Luke Altmaier. You got to keep the status quo at quarterback, because that was really where the offense thrived, was around the quarterback. Most offenses, it's that way, but especially with Illinois. And then winning the marquee matchup. I mean, if you win that game against the team, be that Oregon, who they lost to, they got blown out against, be that Ohio State, Penn State, whoever they play on their upcoming schedule, beat that marquee team. Assert yourself as a team that can do it. You're not just a team that thrives off of an easy schedule. Not saying that they did, but that's the stereotype for this type of team. The Indianas, the Illinois of the world. Be that team that does not thrive just off of an easy schedule. Be a team that can go out there and deliver. All right, that's all I have in this video. If you're an Illini fan, give me a sub right now. Tell me in the comments section down below what you thought of this video. Tell me if you subbed down in the comments section below. I respond to every comment. Like the video, share it around, and I will see you guys in the next one.